commitment to transparency, but according to the briefing note kindly provided by your services, the assertion that negotiators were required to sign a non-disclosure agreement is incorrect. But you just said that you did sign, or that the previous Commission did sign such an agreement, and that you are therefore bound by it. So I would like to understand which of the two statements is true. And if there is no such non-disclosure clause, all relevant documents must be made immediately and publicly available. If, on the other side, there is such a clause, we need to hear from the Commissioner what he will do to ensure full transparency and information of the public, not just of this House, because restricted access for the Members of Parliament only under condition of confidentiality is not enough. European citizens have a right to know about decisions that deeply affect their rights and freedoms. In any case, such non-disclosure agreements must become a thing of the past. The EU should in future insist that European standards of transparency apply. Commissioner, the democratic legitimacy of these negotiations is weak. There has not been any debate to establish the aims and principles of the EU. The mandate has not received any parliamentary approval. And you may argue that there is no legal requirement, but that is beside the point, because if 27 individuals, national ministers, consider that they can give themselves a mandate to negotiate in secret on the fundamental rights and freedoms of European citizens, I can only conclude that their understanding of democracy differs fundamentally from mine. Parliament means business. No 3 strikes out, no warrantless searches and confiscation of laptops or mobile phones. Parliament needs to have watertight guarantees that such clauses will not be introduced via the back door of an international agreement. Finally, Commissioner, I wish you an excellent trip to New Zealand next month, and please make sure that your iPod does not contain any illegally downloaded material. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Infeld. A minute and a half for Christian Engström.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Commission on finally having achieved what EU leaders have been talking about for decades. They've actually managed to get ordinary citizens interested in EU politics. ACTA is an issue that people on the net really care about. But, having said that, I still feel I must criticize the Commission for the method it has used. The reason so many citizens are following the ACTA issue is because they're furious. They're furious at proposals to limit their freedom and invade their privacy just because some big companies are asking for it. They're furious because they see their fundamental civil liberties balanced against industry interests and coming up short. They're furious at the complete lack of transparency. This is not how it should be in a democracy. Tomorrow we will be voting on a resolution that calls on the Commission to live up to the treaty and put all ACTA papers on the table. I hope the resolution will be adopted by an overwhelming majority. The right to privacy, to information freedom and to a fair and proper trial are the cornerstones of a free and open society. Tomorrow we will show that this is a parliament that is prepared to stand up for those rights in the information age. We will demand the information that is both our right and our duty as elected representatives, and we will respectfully remind the Commission that this is a parliament, not a doormat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Engström. 2 minutes for Mr. Edvard Kosušník.
Pane předsedající, já jsem původně chtěl...
Thank you, President. What I want to do, first of all, is thank Commissioner Karel de Gucht that he's been able to achieve a breakthrough with respect to his predecessor, because his predecessor did not take the European Parliament into account and did not inform the Parliament about negotiations. But now it's rather embarrassing for me, because I've been told that we have to respect important figures. But Mr. Gucht was cleaning his glasses before when my colleague Mr. Kamel spoke. I'm very pleased that we now have this agreement, because IPR needs much better protection than it actually has at the moment. Nevertheless, I regret that China and Russia are not party to the agreement. After all, they're the main perpetrators of infringements. The contents of the agreement are still rather vague, as we've heard mentioned by previous speakers, and therefore I'd like to call upon the Commission. The Commission represents the Member States in negotiating the agreement. The agreement should not be used as an export instrument for the French digital guillotine, and it should not become importer of software patents into the EU.
Következő felszólaló Eva Britt Svensson, asszony 1 perc.
Thank you, Mr. Kosunik. Mr. Svensson, 1 minute.
Herr Kommissionär.
Thank you, President. Well, I have to say, I am surprised and shocked to hear the Commission defending confidential negotiations and then, in the same breath, talk about legislation which concerns the personal integrity and the human rights of European citizens. You can't possibly defend not informing members of this House in matters of this import. I would therefore call on you to immediately break off negotiations, and you can start negotiations again when the ACTA partners, the negotiating partners, have agreed that this process should go ahead transparently. I want to see all the documents on the table now. This is fundamental to a democracy. You have to have